Hello, everyone. My name is Corbin. Thank you for joining me again. Uh, I've been enjoying making these. I'm not even gonna lie. It's been fun. Like there's no other way to put it. I've just been having a good time. However, I've pretty immediately ran into the idea like if I'm doing this, I gotta. I don't want to start. I don't want to value uploading frequently uh, more than having something interesting to talk about. So I know I've been staying pretty consistent on like a 2 day regimen, but that might fluctuate a little bit here in the coming days or weeks. But anyways, how's it going? My name's Corbin. Thanks for tuning on in again. Appreciate it. Today we're going to be talking something that I've been thinking a lot about as well. I've been thinking a lot about all of these things, but this one especially. And it's not creating things for attention or for other people's value, but for you. Um, you know, I feel like a very childlike thing that we all have dealt with to some extent is like when we create things, whether it be music or like these videos or when we post on Instagram, when we do anything, it's very commonly, and to an extent, I think it should be for other people. Like I think people who just are so belligerent in their idea of like, I only create for me and I don't think of other people. It's like you have to a little bit. I think everything's a spectrum, and I think that you know it shouldn't be 100% only you or 100% for other people, but I'm just saying value what you want to do more than what you think people want from you. Um, I make music and stuff, and I've been really in a very strange spot of like what genre I want to make and comparing myself to other artists and stuff. When it's like, I will never be, as much as I hate to say it, I'll never be Pine Grove. I'll never be McGee. I'll never be, anything like that because they've already done it. But what I can do is be me. I can be the musician and the artist that I value myself as, and um, I feel like that's just something that's commonly forgotten. Is like, you know, not valuing other people's opinions more than your own. Because if you think about it, that is the entire extent of like why you're even making art in the first place, is for your interest in art and your interest in expressing yourself. So um, I just think it's a common thing that people run into. You know, going back to what I was saying a second ago, like I've been at a very weird spot, and what sort of direction or what sort of genre I want to fall into. And I think the reality is like I am thinking so much about what listeners will think, and I'm thinking so much about like, oh, I don't want them to like this thing and not like this other thing. But it's like at the end of the day, if I want to make something, I think shouldn't I shouldn't not make something because of that. I think if it alters, the outcome a little bit, I think that's okay. I think if I'm healthily taking into consideration other people's opinions and values, I think that that's completely fine. But I think if I'm putting off doing something I want to do, which is like, for example, the music that I make now and perform is kind of like a folky indie thing, but like I've been in a really weird spot where I'm like, I want to make shoegaze stuff, I want to make heavier stuff, or I just want to make funky stuff, like jazzy stuff, and um, I've been so strung up in the idea of like what I know the people around me want from me, and I'm thinking too much about that. Whereas, if, you know, hell's not gonna freeze over if I make a folk album and then I make a shoegaze album. Like, it's not that big of a deal. And I guess the premise of all these videos and the main outcome that I was wanting from all of them is just to, remind everyone, like, it's not that big of a deal. Like, all these stressors and all these little things that come up, whether it be you creating your art or whether it be, thinking about life and death and things like that, or just anything really. Like, at the end of the day, we are on Earth for this amount of time. We're not going to be here forever. And so when you stop looking at things like, what are people in the short term going to think about me? It's like, it really helps to, alleviate a lot of that stress and that overthinking. I think when you start looking at it like, what are people going to look back on when, I'm not here anymore to vouch for myself? I think that's when it starts to become a lot more apparent, what direction you want to go in. And when I start to think about, like, what's going to be here when I'm not, what sort of music will I have, what sort of art will I make, what will I write, things like that. Is it something that I would be proud of, or is it something that I think other people would be proud of? And again, I don't think it should just be like radically just my opinion on everything. I think being true to yourself and then also just being considerate of other people is a pretty easy divide. But I guess the whole main idea of this video is just to also remind yourself that that's what I'm talking about in a lot of these videos, is reminding yourself a lot of stuff. But just make it a point to not get so hung up on other people's notions of you. Like, if you're making something that you feel like isn't on the top 10, charts, it's like, realistically, once you get past the idea of like, I'm making this so one day I can be famous and have a bunch of money and not have to work. Like, it gets a lot easier. When you stop making things with the expectation of seeing a return versus just the sort of like, if it happens, it happens, then you start making things much easier, and you start making things that flow more evenly with the other things that you make. I was thinking about that today, about like these videos, for example. Like, I remember when I was a kid, the only thing I ever thought of when I was a kid, when I'm still young, I'm still pretty young. I mean, it's whatever, I have a very youthful look. But, well, like when I was a kid and whatnot, I used to think that, like, of course my dream job would be a YouTuber, be like Markiplier, be a YouTuber. And it's like, I'm not saying it took me 20 years to realize that isn't the direction my life is going, but I'm just saying, like, once you start realizing, like, all right, realistically and statistically, that's not what's going to happen. I don't ever think I'll be able to, like, make a living off of this. I don't think I'll ever be able to make a living off of music. But if I make stuff that's true to me, and if I happen to see any outcome, whether it be financially or whether it be just from an overall appreciation from people as a whole, like, that's what's important to me, is that, as long as I go into it expecting 0 people to even listen or view or anything like that, it takes the stress off of you, and I know some of you who are watching are like, I don't make music, I don't care. But, it doesn't have to just be exclusively making art. It can be, even at work, it can be in school, like when you, just in life in general, like, if you feel like your entire purpose right now, for example, is to, like, appease the needs of your parents, or like do what your parents think you should be doing versus what you think you should be doing, like, I think it's a very common thing for everyone who's kind of in our age bracket. Um, I need to clarify, like 20, like early 20s. And people who are just getting out of high school and kind of are expected to do something because their family's done it. You know, for the first time in your life, you kind of have the control and the choice to do what you want to do. And it's important to realize that right now is a pivotal point, and you can start being true to yourself and doing what you want to do, or you can not. And again, there's nothing wrong with, you know, doing a convenient option or doing what you think other people want, because um, it's easier. It's easier to be like a people pleaser in that way, because it's like um, you don't have to confront everything. It's a lot more simple. You just kind of shut your brain off and drift on. But I don't like that idea to me. Like that doesn't feel genuine to me. I just what I'm saying pretty much is just like I was saying with the last video, just do yourself that justice and do what you want to do. Because again, you know, there's been billions of lives, trillions almost before us, and there will be billions and trillions more after us. So, you know, in the grand scheme, you don't have to consider all those different things. Just do what you want to do, because you'll appreciate it in the long run. But yeah, this I think might be the longer video that I've made so far. And if you guys want longer videos, or if you want me to talk about anything, just feel free to vocalize that. Feel free to put that in a comment. Say whatever you want. I'm really enjoying doing this. It's fun. Because in a way, it's like, again, like I just said, like I've come to the realization, like this will never be my full-time job. But even just having anyone say like, hey, this was a cool video, thanks. It's like, that's cool. I'm glad that someone is liking it and enjoying it, because I'm making these for me, and I'm making these because I want to, and it's other people are liking that too, and so that's cool. Like that's a cool thing to see, and so yeah. Again, just to leave this video off, do what you want to do, because there's only one life, and you know, you deserve that. You deserve to do what you want to do. So, anyways, thank you guys very much, and have a good rest of your little night. Oh, I didn't press stop.